So choosing a camera is sort of like a rite of passage, and there's a lot of options and considerations to take in when doing so. I want to take a second to kind of show off and give you an understanding of why I personally chose the Sony Venice as my main production camera. This upgrade or purchase happened a little bit less than a year ago, and I was really fortunate at the time to have had a lot of experience with multiple different cameras and camera brands. Originally coming from a Red Komodo package, which is a great image. I've loved that camera, had a lot of success with it. I was looking for something that gave me a little bit more flexibility when working on bigger productions. The cameras I was looking at specifically were the V-Raptor, the Alexa Mini, the Burano, and of course the Sony Venice. I'd worked with all these cameras before, and I've seen great images out of all of them, and they have amazing reasons to buy them all on their own. It was pretty easy to cross off two of them, however, immediately. That being the V-Raptor and the Sony Burano. The V-Raptor, while an amazing image and the flexibility of VistaVision is really cool, it did lack internal NDs, and I feel like it lacked a little bit of a name for itself at the time. And with Nikon buying Red at that time, it was a little just confusing, and I wasn't certain on the future of Red. And the Sony Burano was a very new camera at the time, and I think it was still on its first update, and I didn't hear great things, and I worked with it once, and I wasn't super impressed with the quality of its internal NDs or just the workflow and build of the camera, especially with the viewfinder being a little bit lackluster. I also didn't like how I could buy a cheaper Venice than a brand new Sony Burano. A little bit weird. So that kind of left me with two options, and I want to dive into a little bit of why I specifically chose the Venice more so over the ARRI. Well, the ARRI gives off a beautiful image. I think the Sony does too, but there's other bigger reasons that I chose the Venice. So one of the biggest obvious reasons of the difference of the two is your 6K open gate sensor that you get with the Sony Venice. Being able to shoot 3.2 nice and tall and wide is super nice and flexible, not only for myself, but clients and projects that I'm working on. Now, number two is its dual base ISO. You know, having worked with the FX6 and the FX3, the 800 and 12,800 ISO dual base is mind-boggling and super insane, and it's almost becoming a standard. And so having the flexibility of 500 and 2500 dual base on the Venice is really nice, you know, and I've even noticed that shooting at 2500 daylight and just stopping down honestly produce a super nice natural image that's super controllable, and that is just super nice. So another easy selling point on that end. But one of my favorite things about this camera specifically is the flexibleness of the internal ND. You have every single stop from clear, 0.3, 0.6, 0.9, 1.2, 1.5, 1.8, 2.1, and 2.4, instead of the ARRI where you have a 0, a 0.6, I'm pretty sure, 0.12, and then a 2.1. And so you really had to kind of find a balance or add extra glass with your T-stop to get the look that you're looking for, whereas the Venice, you can really dial in a specific look and stay at that number in a safe, easy way. And now to just glaze the Venice a little bit more, I love the camera, I'm really excited to talk about it, is it's 4 card slots. You can have 2 recording RAW as well as 2 recording proxies, or just lower resolution, which is insane, and I haven't been in a situation where I really need it just yet, but having the options and flexibility for bigger projects with an editor and having quick turnarounds for dailies is a super nice option. And can we just talk about the option to run a Rialto package on the Venice? I think that is the coolest thing, to be able to take the body, throw it on my back, and rig it up on my arm somewhere for a nice light package, roller skating around, or put it on a crane in a weird way. Having the Rialto package is so cool and mind-blowing. I mean, it's how they made freaking Top Gun in the fighter jets, and I think it's why they made it. So, super cool reason. Again, I think this camera just offers a lot of flexibility and longevity, especially as someone who really likes the commercial space and possibly even the music video space. It gives you a wide range of options for what exactly you need specifically. It's an all-in-one tool. I mean, that's what cameras are, right? They're just tools at the end of the day. And so having, you know, the whole toolbox in one thing is incredible. Now, another thing about this camera is it's just production ready, right? Like, it is built for productions. You have multiple SDI ports, multiple power outs. You can do XLR ins. I mean, it is just built for multiple use, bigger production, big scale, multiple people on set productions. That was a lot of production words. But I think that's incredible. As someone who was using the Red Komodo and only had one SDI port and had to power everything out through one, it wasn't the most universal or user-friendly when it came to having multiple people on set. You can make that camera incredible, and I think I honestly made it a nice little kit, not to throw it out there, but I think I made it in the best way that you could to be flexible, and I just think it was just a little bit of a hassle getting around everything. I do miss the global shutter though, I will say. But yeah, I think to come down to it, flexibility of the Sony Venice was the hugest selling point for me, and that's what made me want to upgrade to this system. Truly, I think it is incredible and offers a ton. Now, obviously, all that said and done, the main reason of this was, one, to have a camera package that I was excited to use and could use on projects, but also offer something to productions to simplify workflows and speed instead of going to a rental house or what have you. And then also to hopefully make an ROI. Now, I am still paying off the camera and it is still working on it itself, but it definitely is a cool and interesting investment and piece to use as an asset. And while the Komodo did offer a little bit of this and the rentability and flexibility of that was nice, this definitely just asserts it in a little bit different of a field that could offer a little bit more trustworthiness and a little bit more of a rate when going on to bigger productions. It's also nice owning the camera like this and having the flexibility to bring it on productions that normally wouldn't be able to afford something like this at the time, and being able to shoot on personal projects. So that is also all the nice plus and pros of owning the Sony Venice specifically. Now, I do want to say one of the bigger reasons of purchasing this camera as well was some of the DPs that I look up to and some of the movies and things shot on this body truly are inspiring to me, and I honestly want to be like Mike, if you will. You know, I think as a kid I liked wearing Jordans or Kobe's because I respected those athletes, and right now I want to shoot on the Sony Venice because I respect those artists. But again, this camera does fit my workflow and my productions, and I think it is a great tool for me. There are some caveats, again, with it being heavy, or you know, the card's taking up a lot of space, or not having scratch audio. There are some blemishes here and there, and it's not perfect. That's why you need to decide what camera's gonna work best for your workflow and for what you do. But again, I think this is a fun investment for myself and is going to be paying off pretty soon and nicely. So that is why I bought the Sony Venice. Let me know what you think. Would you have bought the Alexa Mini? Or would you have bought the Raptor? I don't know. Or would you just stick with an FX3? Appreciate watching. Yeah.